This is what Ulik looks like straight out of the box. Orange and green plastic. They did a great job on this sculpt. It looks really nice. Very imposing figure. A Walmart exclusive. And although it is a $35 piece, it still needs a helping hand with the paint wash. As you can tell, the details in the actual body, the armor itself looks great just the way it is. So we're going to mask out what we need and paint what we need. There are two head sculpts that come with this, and they just need a little bit of work to look that much better. So let's get started with this project. It should take an hour or two for you to do so. Of course, this video has been edited down to 15 minutes. Let's get started. You'll notice that taking the figure apart is going to be incredibly easy. You don't need a hair dryer and you don't need to boil your figure like an egg. It used to be a Build-A-Figure, and just like all Build-A-Figures, they come apart very easy. I wish that all of the Marvel Legends were able to come apart this easily to work on. Let me show you the next step. We've got to prep the pieces to get painted. After masking out the surfaces that you need to protect, you're going to cover the surface with Liquitex matte acrylic varnish. Now you can wash the figure with a little bit of soap and water, and that can prep your surface, but the paint may still bead up on the plastic. So if you prep it with the Liquitex and obviously allow it to dry, it will then take the paint that much better. You'll see just a moment how well the paint takes after using the varnish. Now, I have already done this. I am only showing you a clip of the video to let you know what it is I did. I did use an airbrush because it goes on with an even, smooth coverage. Using an actual brush, you may have spots that are thicker and thinner, and it may take longer to dry in some of those thicker spots. But using an airbrush, you are able to get a better and even coverage, and of course you'll have to rotate some of those limbs to get into some of those crevices. If you want to work on the joints to paint them, that is all up to you. Most of these large figures don't have a lot of articulation, so a lot of those joints you will not see. If anything, the knees and elbows, that's pretty much it. Just to go over paint quickly, I'll let you know what I'm using. It's the Vallejo Premium paints. I only have the 5 colors. My colors don't have names. I mix my own, and that's what I use. I don't have a recipe for each one because each one has a different tone, each figure that is. So the browns are different on every figure, so the recipe is different for mixing browns or blues or reds or pinks, etc. But using those 5 colors, I'm able to get the colors that I need for the majority of these figures. So I'll let you watch the rest of the video so you can see the process and take a look at how well the paint goes on now that it's been sprayed down with the Liquitex matte finish. There's no beating up of the paint, and that actual paint will stain that Liquitex varnish. So you don't want to let it sit there too long. You want to wash it off, or Actually, you want to use a towel to pad off the excess paint. If you want to bring back some of the color that's underneath, you can actually rub with that towel the area that you need to bring back. And that way you don't have to do any dry brushing later. That's all up to you. The technique is going to be what you develop, what you think is going to be best for your particular artwork. Now keep in mind that you can add as many paint washes as you need to achieve the tone that you like. The camera here isn't picking up the colors all that well, but you have an idea how it's done. Now we've reached the point of dry brushing. And with dry brushing, again, it's going to be to your taste how much detail you want to pull out on that particular figure or that particular detail. Again, you can use different tones of dry brushing to bring out or enhance certain parts, in this case the surface texture of the skin or even the muscle texture. You can go in with darker colors to enhance the recessed areas or lighter colors to enhance the parts that are raised or the muscles that would actually be touched by any glistening light. Now, any of the fur can also be enhanced by the dry brushing using the same color or using a different tone. Again, it all depends on how involved you want to get in with your figure and what you want to see as a final result. For me, it was too much of an orange plastic. I wanted to see more of a realistic orange tone or fur as to what this figure would have. So this is what I came up with. I'll let you watch the rest of the video and I'll be back in just a moment. So we've come down to the two main portions, or the main attraction of the figure, which is the two sculpts. And I decided to add some dry brushing to the hair with a light brown. However, in the end I really didn't like it because it just made him look old, and it didn't really enhance what I was wanting to do. It looks good, don't get me wrong, but I didn't like that effect because that's not what was my final goal. That's what is good about dry brushing. You can actually control the amount of detail you want to see. So if you have an imperfection or an error, it's easy to get rid of it by bringing another dry brush color over that original color you put down, and you can pretty much eliminate it or just change it entirely. However, in this case, I wanted to do just a bit more, and in the next clip you'll see that I not only added another wash of color to the hair, but I went back in with a different tone of dry brush and I added a reddish brown to give it, or to bring back that character color or characteristic color and nature of his hair that is in the comics. So let's take a look. You can now tell the big difference that it makes to add those washes of color into the hair. And then the final touch is this dry brush of reddish brown over those dark colors. It really pops out the detail, and it doesn't make him look old, it makes him look very distinguished. And as you can tell in the portrait itself, I added a bit more orange to the cheekbones, the brow, and I went ahead and painted the tongue a pinkish red, and of course I've added more details to the teeth, and then I covered everything with a Tamiya X24, which is the high gloss transparent finish, to give it that wet look. And I also added that highlight in the eye that was missing, and then I covered that with the Tamiya X24 to make the eyes look wet. In the end, the portraits look much better than what they were out of box. So I'm going to leave you now with a clip of the finished product all ready to go. And I will leave you a playlist to look at if you are interested in seeing more dry brushing or repainting of an entire figure. We'll see you here next time.
Ha ha ha!